What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And just right off the bat, no sugarcoating, I want to say, if you are not receptive to true growth, true accountability, this video isn't for you and it's not even worth watching. But if you're somebody that truly wants to grow and truly wants to look at themselves in the mirror for the first time, this will change your entire life. This is not just me going off of what I read in a book or what I saw on another video. This is my real life and how I personally beat 7 years of chronic addiction. For 7 years of my life, I was a slave to my own desires. I was a slave to my own urges, which ultimately led to me being a slave to my own mind. I was a slave to my emotions, any impulses that I had, and I spent a good majority of my young adult life chasing that next high. A lot of you are in the same position. It could be in various forms. You could be addicted to corn. You could be addicted to scrolling. You could be addicted to substances, alcohol. Whatever it may be for you, these principles I'm about to go over will help you beat that addiction 100% of the time. Before I get into this, I need you to realize that this is not easy. I am going to break this down in a simple way that all of you can understand, all of you can apply, but only a small percentage of you actually have the heart to do so. It took me years and years of a constant cycle and not learning my lesson to finally embrace these things and realize that I was not who I thought I was. And that was ultimately what set me free. So let's get right into it. We're actually going to start at the second point here, which is you wouldn't think about quitting your addiction if it wasn't harmful to you. Just the idea of thinking of quitting, just the act of brainstorming how to detach from this thing is enough of a sign to tell you that I need to cut this out of my life. It's not serving my life. So that alone should be a big wake-up call for you to say, you know what? That's very true. If it was good for me, then I wouldn't be concerned about it. I wouldn't be thinking about how do I get this out of my life if it was something that was serving my life. First, an extremely powerful point. I stayed stuck for years chasing a high, waking up every day with the objective of getting high. That was my main priority for many, many years of my life. I tried many times on my own to quit my addiction. I failed over 20 times trying to quit the same addiction. And I always wonder, what was the missing piece? What am I missing here? I have the ambition to quit. I have the drive to quit, but I always run back and chase that feeling. Well, an addiction cannot be fully eliminated, only replaced. You have to realize, when you are addicted to something, it is a priority to you. It rules your actions and it takes a lot of your time. For you to just take it out of your life and not replace that time and attention and energy with something else ultimately is going to leave you bored. It is going to leave you guessing what the next move is. And one of the biggest problems that I see in young men now is stagnation. Stagnation is your worst enemy. I'm not telling you to run around constantly only in hopes to distract yourself, but you must stay busy. You must have a mission. You must have goals that you're working towards. So when you wake up in the morning, you have something to strive for. But if you only hope to eliminate the addiction, but not replace the time you spend in that addiction with something that will actually serve your life, then you will always get bored and go back to the addiction. See, a lot of you do the things that you do, you're addicted to what you're addicted to because you're bored, because you don't know what else to do with your life and you just want to feel something. You just want to feel any sort of stimulation, any sense of fake fabricated fulfillment in order to fill in that boredom that is ruling over your life. So if you find yourself in a position where you're like, I don't have any goals, I don't have anything specific that I have written down and said, I am going to strive for this. It has to be something that is above yourself at this current moment. It has to be something that makes you embody a different version of yourself in order to accomplish. As obvious as this might be, your goals must push you to become somebody that you're not, to do things that you don't usually do, and push the limits of your life that you have never considered pushing before. But if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna cut this thing out of my life, I'm gonna quit cold turkey, and that's your only plan, you're gonna fail every single time. And I can assure you of that. I lived it for years and years on end. Which leads me to my next point. If this thing was supposed to fulfill you, if this addiction was supposed to fulfill you, if this stimulation was supposed to fulfill you, then why do you have to keep going back to it? See, something that fulfills you ultimately will give you a sense of peace and a sense of wholeness that will not drive you to be constantly chasing more of it. So a lot of you get depressed, you get anxious, and you start hooking up with a bunch of girls. You start trying to find any girl that will literally give you attention. You will find any girl that will give it up to you, chasing that short-term stimulation, that short-term high. But it never fulfills you, does it? Every time you're done with the hookup or whatever it may be for you, you know deep down inside you're just as empty as before. Because that has nothing to do with you. That's living externally. That's seeking happiness and joy in external factors. It is ultimately seeking the internal wholeness that you must find within yourself in other people. And let me just tell you this. As somebody that ran in circles for years and years on end, chasing around girls, getting the girls, hooking up with the girls, it will never fulfill you. And each time you do it, you realize more and more, this will never give me the feeling that I thought it will. This will never fulfill me to a point where I can be happy again. So you need to stop chasing these external things and find wholeness within yourself. You need to find confidence within yourself. You need to find an unwavering level of self-love that allows you ultimately to not need external factors to validate you. See, a lot of you disguise hooking up and chasing women as a powerful thing, as an alpha thing. Oh, you know, I get so many girls, every girl wants me, I could get any girl I want. You're just hurt. You are a hurt man, and you are a little boy screaming out of a grown man's body. That is the most immature approach that you could possibly take to this. And you know deep down, when all the noise is gone and the curtains close and you lay your head on that pillow at night, that you hate yourself. And I'm not saying this to put you down. I'm saying this because I was just like you for a long time. And I chased the girls and I chased their validation in order to believe that there was good things about me, that I was a desirable person. But even with that, I never truly felt it myself. And when I went to sleep at night, I knew it. And I still felt that emptiness, that void inside of myself, no matter how many girls I got, no matter how much stimulation I would partake in. To our next point, a lot of people argue, well, why would God create these things if he didn't want me to enjoy it? Why did God put these substances, these girls, these stimulations out there for me if he didn't want me to try it? If he didn't want me to indulge in it? If he didn't want me to enjoy it? God didn't put those things in the world for us to indulge in them and for those things to have power over us. God put those things in the world for us to be able to deny them and have power over them. Because when you are able to deny yourself and deny what your mind and your body tells you what you want, ultimately, there is a different level of mental fortification that follows that. It builds your mind to be able to not give in to itself. See, your mind is lying to you. Your mind is oriented towards keeping you safe and keeping you comfortable. Your mind senses danger the same as if somebody was pointing a Glock at you. Your physical responses can quite literally not really decipher the difference between basic anxiety and worry versus you being in an actual dangerous situation. So your mind is always going to orient you and push you towards doing the easy thing, doing the safe thing, because it's protecting you. But that very comfort that your mind tells you that you need, and that very reluctant relaxation mindset that your mind is pushing you towards, is the same thing that will stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. So now I propose a question. Is sacrificing your potential worth temporary stimulation? Is it worth saying, oh, I get so many girls. Oh, these girls are all over me. Oh, I just love getting high. It makes me feel so relaxed. It helps my anxiety. It helps me sleep. First of all, no the fuck it don't. It makes all of those things worse. How does it make sense to you that you spark up at night and then you go to bed after stimulating your mind, basically firing your mind off, and somehow you're supposed to rest better? That doesn't make any sense. And with anxiety, it's the same thing. Oh, it calms me down. It keeps me calm. No, it numbs you is what it does. It numbs you and it distracts you from how you truly feel and who you really are and what's real. And for you to keep doing that and using it as a crutch is ultimately an excuse for you to be a weak human being. It is you running and avoiding, which is the weakest thing that you could possibly do in your entire life. For many years, I made the same excuses. Oh, I just do it for fun, I just do it recreationally. I just do these things, to take the edge off. But as I kept doing it, as I started doing it more, my anxiety got worse. I became a damn near insomniac. And so all of these fabricated excuses and reasons that I came up to justify me not being able to control myself ultimately were voided in reality. See, this is what I mean by looking in the mirror and actually holding yourself accountable for the first time. Are you going to ignore the fact that every time you spark up at night and you wake up in the morning, you feel like shit? You feel like trash. You know your sleep is horrible. And if you got like an Apple Watch or a Whoop or something that tracks your sleep, you will see that you rarely reach deep sleep because you're literally lighting your brain up right before you're supposed to rest. And you say, oh, I have such bad anxiety. I need to quiet the noise in my head. You're again amplifying the noise. You are amplifying the worry. You are amplifying your neurological function to the point where you are so overloaded. And if you don't emit all of that energy throughout the day, then you will be absolutely cooked. You will have panic attacks constantly, and your anxiety will spiral more and more into the void. And again, you keep going back, you keep having to go back time after time because it doesn't fulfill you. It doesn't give you the feeling that you say it does. But you want to live in this facade and you want to live in this lie just to keep doing what you know is wrong, what you know is hurtful for you. And that alone is completely unacceptable. You should want more for yourself. You should care about yourself more than to live your whole life being numb. Just because you went from feeling bad to feeling nothing doesn't mean that's an improvement. It's actually the worst spot you can be in. Because when you are numb, that ambition to grow, that ambition to deny yourself disappears. You start really seeing nothing wrong with you doing things that harm you. You really start seeing nothing wrong with going out every weekend, getting absolutely blackout, and trying to find the first girl that will look in your direction. and you know it doesn't make you happy, you know you're not a happy person, and you know that the way you see yourself will never be trumped by how they see you. So are you going to take the weak route of running and avoiding and numbing and ultimately sacrifice your own potential? Sacrifice what you would have been capable of if you just looked in the mirror one day and truly saw your life for what it is. Which brings us to our next point. This is really the foundational theme of this entire video. You have a short-term mindset and you don't realize that will kill your long-term goals and growth. You are chasing the next high. And listen, the reason I'm even making this video is because I was just like you. Like I said before, I would wake up in the morning and the first thing I would think about is getting high. That was my goal for the day. That was my objective. Oh, what new strain can I get? What new cart could I get? You know, what's gonna get me really, really faded? What's the next big thing that's gonna get me geeked? And ultimately, if you really think about that, even if you're like in a high school age, you're a young adult, that is straight up pathetic, man. Is that really how your life is supposed to go? Is that what your life is supposed to be? Waking up and trying to get the limited edition Geek Bar? Is that really what your life is supposed to be? Do you think God created you to be sucking on a Geek Bar that lights up with a star constellation every time you hit it? Do you think God created you to be setting out every day to find the next Catbiss cart that's going to make you damn near hallucinate? No, that's not who you were made to be. You were meant to do much more than that. And the danger of substances is it makes you feel like you're doing something when you're doing absolutely nothing. And that comes in with the boredom factor that I mentioned earlier. Getting high, using a substance, is ultimately just you trying to feel like you're doing something, trying to fill time, and ultimately tricking your mind into saying, I accomplished something today because I got the dopamine hit of doing something productive. I got the same feeling from getting faded and vegging out that I would if I went and did a workout. I worked hard on a project and I truly strive for a goal. But here's the difference. That fulfillment, that stimulation, that joy, that dopamine is extremely short term. Yes, it takes longer to draw out long-term dopamine. It takes longer to get the satisfaction from chasing your goals because it's about compounding over time. But if you don't even have that little bit of patience to be able to do that, then you are in a very dangerous spot. And you really need to analyze your life and realize that you have no resilience. You are mentally weak. I don't say these things again to put you down to make you feel bad. I say these things to tell you the truth. And it's the thing that I once had to tell myself after years of lying to myself and being just like you. I was the laziest person you would ever meet in your entire life. I would do nothing. I wasted years of my life rotting away, listening to music, just getting faded. And better yet, I would be with my friends and they would do the same things that I would do. And so when you have somebody there beside you, living the same lifestyle as you, it gives you a crutch to say, oh, there must be nothing wrong here because he's doing it too. She's doing it too. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's chasing the high every day. All my friends do it. It's just something that people do. And I understand that not everybody wants the same things out of life. Not everybody wants to be wealthy, own a business, do something monumental. Some are okay with a simplistic life. But at the very least, you should realize that using that as an excuse and using other people as a reason for why what you're doing to harm yourself is not wrong is a cop-out. And it's weak. And it's the weakest route you could take. It is, again, living externally and ultimately being validated by other people's lifestyles. Saying, oh, well, Steven does it, Tyler does it, so why is it wrong for me to do it? It doesn't mean that it's okay because you're not the only one that does it. It actually means that you're all mentally weak and you need to get some new friends very quickly because proximity is power. Your friends should make you feel like you're doing something wrong if you're not striving for those real goals, if you're not constantly building your skills. I can count my core friends on one hand, and they are all doing substantially great things. They are all excelling for their age. And when I see that, when I see my brother chasing his mission and going intentionally into battle every single day, anytime that I let off the gas, I know something is wrong. Iron sharpens iron. I know you've heard it before. God didn't say that for no reason. God didn't put those words out there for no reason. Your friends are there to build you, not break you down, not to keep you on the same level as them. Because you might think, oh, we're just having fun. You know, my friends are so fun, man. We go out to all the parties. We get the girls. We do a bunch of crazy stuff, man. We're so wild. You guys are degenerates, bro. And I was a degenerate. And all my friends were complete degenerates. And you know what we were at the end of the day? An army of degenerates. An army heading into a battle headed nowhere. Imagine that you're on the front lines of a battle, right? To live that degenerate lifestyle is like facing the opponent, all of you turning around simultaneously and running away. Is that the type of man you want to be? Is that the type of man you think you're supposed to be? I didn't think so. So you must be able to do things without getting results right away. You must not live for temporary stimulation, for those dopamine highs. Because I can tell you right now, through fitness, through learning, through striving for my dream, just like I'm doing right now actively, I have found so much more fulfillment in my life, and it has completely turned my life around. Because I not only eliminated my addiction, I replaced it with something that actually meant something. I replaced it with something that aligned to the core of my soul. What I was meant for, what I was meant to do, who God made me to be. And that is the type of person that you should want to be. You should want to be the guy that goes against the grain and says, you know what, everybody is doing this. Everybody's drinking every weekend. Everybody's partying. Everybody's chasing lust. But that's not me. Because deep in the core of your heart, you know it's not you and you're just pretending. You're just trying to conform. You're just trying to fit in because the last thing that you want is to be socially outcasted. Which brings me to my next point. This is not all about you. I find that the weakest mindsets, the people that are in the worst spot, like I once was for many years of my life, only think about themselves. How can I help myself? How can I get what I want? You can never get to a spot in your life where you realize that your actions as a man not only affect you, but affect the people around you. Imagine that you have a son in the future and he wants to do something and you don't have the resources for it because you wanted to get high off of that geek pack. How pathetic is that? You have to tell your son, who is looking up to you, wanting to see you as a hero, that you can't provide for him because all you ever wanted to do was provide for yourself and make yourself feel good, and took every selfish route to do so. You will put people beside, you will push them away, you will prioritize that feeling over real human people that deserve real love. People that really want to show you love. People that really want to show you support. That is completely unacceptable. I believe in the traditional values of a man, the traditional roles of a man. Provide, protect. But you're going to look at your little son who wants to see you as a superhero and say, sorry, son, we can't have this experience. You can't fulfill this opportunity that you have worked for because I don't have the resources, because I blew all of our money on trying to feel something, on trying to run away from my real life and who I truly was. And I have lived an entire life of numbness and avoidance and distraction. And because of that, now I have to deny you. So are you going to deny yourself? Or are you going to deny the people that never deserved to be a product of you? That never deserved to be denied by you? That really want something for their life, and they're looking to you to be a role model and be that masculine, powerful figure in their life, but you can't even control yourself because you're on Instagram swiping booty pics all day. You can't even stop scrolling. Most of you didn't even make it to this point in the video because your brain is so fried. And you went back to TikTok and you're watching a bunch of horse shit, trying to get that next stimulation, trying to get that next laugh, trying to feel something. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And you're going to find as you watch all my other videos, I cut straight to the point. Because I looked at myself one day and said, man, you're pathetic. The way you live is pathetic. The way you treat people is pathetic. They pour so much into you. They pour so much genuine energy and love into you. And you just smack them in the face every single day by living this selfish, self-serving, ignorant lifestyle. My next point I mentioned at some point earlier in the video. I'm sure you picked up on it. But this is not who you were meant to be. God didn't make you to be doing this, to running in this cycle. God didn't make you to suffer forever. God put that suffering in your life in order to build you into who you are supposed to be. If you're a believer in God, a lot of you pray and you say, God, make me strong, make me wise. But then he puts the obstacles in your life to make you strong and make you wise, and you think that he's punishing you. You think that he is doing something wrong. Again, you point the finger. But guess what? When you point the finger, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Because that really reveals the truth. Anytime you say, it's that person's fault the way I am, it's this circumstance the way I am, you are just further pushing off reality. It's your fault. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's your fault. The position that you're in is your fault. Some of the things that have happened to you in your life, you couldn't have seen them coming. You couldn't anticipate the amount of pain that those things would bring. I personally lost my father. I had a friend of mine take his own life. I could have never expected that. Do I blame myself for those things? Absolutely not. But I also realize that I could sit there and try to figure out why my friend did that, or why my dad isn't here to be a role model for me, and why everybody else has 2 parents and a whole household and a good marriage from the surface, and why I didn't get to experience that and say, oh, poor me, pity me, my life is so hard, how could I help but do anything but become a monster? How could I help myself? How could I not go into my villain arc? That was a decision that you made. And ultimately, it's not about what happened to you that is your fault. But the way you reacted to that, what you did following that, is entirely your fault. And if you don't realize that, you're going to stay stuck in that same spot. So are you really trying to grow, or are you trying to lie to yourself? Do you want to be happy, or do you want to be right all the time? Always chasing arguments, always chasing altercation in hopes of just proving yourself to people. A life of reacting and proving yourself to people that you never had to prove yourself to in the first place. It is an empty and soulless life that you are chasing by doing that. It's not worth it. You don't have to think about why Stacy cheated on you. You don't have to think about why that relationship didn't work out. You don't have to think about all the time, oh, why did God take this person from me? You have to think about, what is God trying to teach me? What is God trying to teach me? The absence of my father ultimately pushed me to have to figure it out for myself. I had to figure out how to become a man. I was raised by women, and women and men think entirely different. They process emotions different. And so I had no reference of a strong masculine figure to drive me and support me and guide me through my life. I had to figure that out for myself. But you know what that did for me? It allowed me to be right here, right now, being able to tell you this, being able to beat my addictions, being able to deny myself every single day and truly know what's good for me and what's hurting me, and to live in truth and not a lie anymore. That's what that did for me. It didn't punish me. It didn't make me a monster. It didn't ruin my life. It made my life. Last but not least, a very foundational piece is that you're living in comfort, an abundance of comfort. And the killer of men is comfort. The killer of men is believing your mind when it tells you, no, don't go out and do that. You don't know how to do that. You're not smart enough to do that. You're not talented enough to do that. Oh, you're not meant to strive for that. You're not meant to reach the elite class of life. And if that's your mentality, oh, a woman will never love me, I'll never be successful, then you're probably right, man. You're probably right. You're probably 100% correct. But the only reason it is right is because you think like that. You have two choices in almost every situation in your life. One is positive and one is negative. Are you going to succumb to your self-doubt, your insecurity, and say, I'm not capable of that, so I might as well not even try? Or say, I don't know anything about this, but I can learn. It might take time, it might take struggle, it might take dedication, but I know I could do it. I could do anything. You have to have this delusional mindset to where you're like, there is nothing I can't do. And anybody that tells me I can't do it, they can watch me do it. And that is ultimately how you break free from the shackles that you have wrapped around yourself. This comfort that you're living in that feels so good to you ultimately leaves you empty. You think that emptiness that you feel is from something else. It's from the comfort. It's from the good feeling. I'll be straight up with you. You're not supposed to feel good all the time. You're supposed to go through pain. You're supposed to go through challenging times. You're supposed to run into battle not knowing how to swing your axe, but figuring it out. Going off of instincts, putting pressure on yourself, taking risks to where you have no choice but to show up for yourself. And if you don't show up for yourself, there's no safety net under you to catch you, and you will have to figure it out. That's where a man is made. That's where a man has no choice but to step into who God made them to be. So if you're trying to beat an addiction, if you're trying to beat something that has a ruling over you, you need to realize that the comfort that it gives you is an illusion. It's a lie, and it never fulfills you. That's why you have to keep going back. That's why you would never even think about quitting in the first place if it wasn't worth quitting. And that's why ultimately the sacrifice of a little dopamine hit is not worth your potential. If you found value in this video and you're ready to change your life for real, I want you to DM me at this tag right here. This is my Instagram page. I want you to DM me the word win. I'll book a one-on-one coaching call with you. We'll break down everything that you're struggling with, all the problems that you're facing, and I will give you solutions that you can apply right this second to start changing your life. Not from a book, not from another YouTuber, from real life experience, from somebody that knows the pain that you're feeling, that knows the circumstances that you're battling. And there is nothing better and more effective than that.